Good morning. Welcome to the first day of summer in the driest state, in the driest continent in the world, and it's raining, which throws a bit of a curveball at us. There was sort of rain forecast for today all week. They sort of said like a 70% chance of 1 to 5 mil. This morning when I was in the shower, you could actually hear it smashing against the bathroom window over the sound of the shower, so it's really decided to chuck it down. It's not too bad at the moment, although the road's very wet. So that's something else to think about. There's not much room for error on this particular road. This hill climb is basically on a cliff face, so there's a barrier on one side and sort of dirt and rock on the other, and it's a bit of a problem. So yeah, I'm sure we're going to see some mistakes today. Hopefully it won't be me. I never even normally drive this car in the rain. I've had it in cotton wool for 10 years, so yeah, it's going to be a bit of a learning experience. I'm not going to be risking it. You know, this car's worth a lot to us, so I'm not going to be risking it. I've never even had it on a track of any type before. But I might tell you a little bit about the car anyway, because I don't think I went over this in my prep video. So it's a, gee, these roads are shit. It's a BMW 1984 BMW 323i. It's got an Alpina crank, Alpina throttle body, Bilstein suspension all round, limited slip diff. Basically built by a guy called Willunga Hillclimb, who used to build the engines for Jim Richards touring cars, BMW touring cars, when he used to race them here. So a little bit of racing heritage there, and I guess despite that fact, I've never really had it on a track or anything. As I say, I've kept it in cotton wool for 10 years, so picked a hell of a day to first bring it out and drive it in anger, I suppose. But not a whole lot else to say really. I don't think, looking at the entry list, that I'm very likely to come away with a trophy or anything like that today. The way they divide the classes up in these, I mean, some of them they're a lot more specific. You know, they'll have like under 2 litre and then 2 to 3 litre, then 3 to 4 litre. This particular event has got a 2 to 4 litre class, so I sort of fit in, you know, sort of roughly in the middle of that. And the cars I'm up against, you know, that engine capacity grouping sort of allows me to be in there with, I think there's a Porsche Cayman, a couple of Skylines, Focus ST. So I was having a look through the entry list, and I don't really think that I'm a chance of victory. So yeah, I'm also not going to be pushing the car to the point that I might have an accident or anything like that. I'm not willing to risk the car for a couple of seconds, so it's just not going to happen. So what I'll try to do anyway today is get a little bit of footage of not only the driving but the remainder of the event, which I wasn't able to do last year because being in a dedicated race car I was stuck up the top of the hill away from everything. But today, road registered car, I'll be able to get a little bit more, I guess, shots of the atmosphere and so on. But you know, looking at the weather today and the fog up on the hill, it's a question of even whether or not we even get started. So yeah, I guess time will tell. So heading up to Willunga now, just in the curveball way that Motorsport operates. I bought some new tyres for this event because the old ones were looking a bit shit. So I went out, bought some new tyres, go out there yesterday, left rear is flat. I've only had it a week, and I've only driven it about 15 k's, which was just from the tyre shop back to home, and it's flat. And they also managed to nick my really nice dust caps and put on some plastic shit, and they missed one on one wheel, which also happens to be the wheel which has gone flat. So I went to 3 service stations this morning. Do you think I could find one that sells dust caps? Now, I used to work in a service station, we sold dust caps, so yeah, a bit annoyed. So that's another little doubt I'm going to have in the back of my mind, just what kind of condition that tyre's in, whether it's sort of holding air as we go up the hill. But I'm just going to have to keep an eye on it and keep it topped up, and hope that it'll be okay, and then I've got some fairly choice words for that tyre shop when I'm done. But unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to really do anything yesterday. So just about here anyway. Just about to pull into the sort of recreation ground, football oval, where they hold all the scrutineering for the event. You may have just seen on camera a car on a trailer pulling in there. But we'll go in there, have a bit of a look around, see what they've actually got planned for today. It looks like a WRX is actually going in there, and I wouldn't mind his four-wheel drive system today, that's for absolute certain. But we're just going to have to take it as it comes, try not to make any mistakes, and see how we go. What's going on here? Anyway, I'll leave you guys to it, and I'll pick you up later on.
Alright, so from that point we went into the football oval that you saw us pulling into there. That was where they were doing all the sign-on and scrutineering and everything like that. And yeah, did the whole routine. It started raining again, real heavy, so putting all the stickers and everything on the cars wasn't real easy. It was, yeah, chucking it down. But I had no problems getting through. The only thing that they asked me to do was mark the tow points on the car, and that's something that didn't used to be a requirement the last time I raced a road registered car, so it's obviously something they asked for now. Just put a couple of little bits of yellow tape on the bumper just to sort of mark the position of the tow hooks, and we're good to go. It's probably a good point to actually talk about a little bit of a frustration that I have with sort of not just motorsport at this level, but motorsport in general, is, I guess, inconsistency in the application of the rules. And the reason I say that is if you have a look at this picture here, you can see where the stickers are placed, and they are placed on the car in accordance with what the organisers say you have to do. So they've got the window banner across the top, you've got the number on the side, and they also give you another number to put up on the windscreen, and it needs to be on the driver's side. And yeah, that's absolutely fine. Got no problems at all with them sort of specifying where they want everything to go. So that's cool. The only problem I do have is I'm actually in the scrutineering line. I'm talking to a friend of mine who's running a little bit behind. He's just putting his stickers on as the scrutineer comes over and approaches, and the scrutineer absolutely refuses to begin scrutineering the car until such time as he's got the stickers on, which is a little bit pedantic, but that's fine if they want to do that. And he's got to put the number on his window. It's like, no, it's got to be on the other side. So he made him pull it off and put it on the other side, and everything else. So alright, that's fine, that's their prerogative, right? But then after we go and we park on the main street where all the cars are kept while we're waiting for our runs, quite a few cars such as this one show up, which clearly haven't been held to the same standard. Now, I'm not having a go at this guy, I'm just sort of using his car as an example. It's not his fault. But the point is, if you're going to have a rule, and you're going to bother writing it in the regulations and everything like this, then it's got to be enforced the same for everybody. And it doesn't matter whether it's stickers or whether it's something more significant like tyres or things to do with the vehicle or anything. It's got to be, if you're going to bother having it, enforce it equally across the board. Don't nitpick some people for it and then let other people just blatantly ignore it. That's ridiculous. And it's not just something that happened at this particular event, it happens everywhere. I mean, there was an event that I was at a couple of years ago, Hillclimb, same sort of thing, and they had a designated paddock area where all the cars were going to park, sort of grassy area, and it was quite a tight squeeze, so they actually had written in the regulations, there are no support vehicles at all to be left in the pit area, it's for competition cars only. Your support vehicles have to go over the other side, which is a fair way away, but if that's the rule, that's the rule. You can understand why they do it, they got limited space. And so when I showed up, my car's not even off the trailer yet. I'm literally halfway backing my car off the trailer. And already, there's a guy with a clipboard next to me saying, oh, you can't leave your service vehicle here. I'm like, mate, give me 2 seconds. As soon as I get the car off, I will take it back over there, which I did. It's a bit of inconvenience because all your tools and everything are typically in the service car, and it's obviously a fair walk in that case to go and get anything that you might need. But if that's the rule and it's applied evenly, that's absolutely fine. The problem is that once the event started, I looked around and there were no fewer, I counted 16 support vehicles in the pit area, taking up space. So why was it so important to tell me before I'd even unloaded my car that I had to move my car over the other side, the support car over the other side, and yet there are guys who are just allowed to do whatever they want and ignore the rule. So yeah, it's something that I find quite a bit frustrating. Just seems to happen just about everywhere. It's a minor frustration, but yeah, anyway, that's the way it is. So from there, we got everything together. Basically, just waited around until it was time to start the action for the day.
Alright guys, so we're just actually in the lineup for the practice stage. So the first run up there, as I think I said before, is going to be a practice. So I'm just in the line for that at the moment. Had the driver's briefing and everything. Had some more really shit weather blow over. Seems to be sort of clearing up now, although just looking back in my mirror where the weather usually comes from, it looks like there's some more rain on the way potentially. So it looks like it's going to be a bit of a miserable day on and off. So yeah, I probably won't record this run. Actually, it's kind of you sort of forget when you jump when you take a road car racing versus your normal race car, the RX-7. Just how many little things there are that are different. Like, I've got radio here, so I can actually listen to the radio while I'm sat here, and the pedals are kind of, my feet are a bit wet and the pedals are very slippery and everything, whereas in the race car they've got grippier stuff on them. And there's all these other little sort of bits and pieces that you don't really think about that you notice. But anyway, so yeah, just waiting for the start now. Yeah, like I say, we'll run up, do the practice run, see how we go with that. Won't be pushing too hard, just sort of find where the grip is, where it's not. And then I'll probably do some video for my actual runs. And like I think I've said, I'm going to get the GoPro out and walk around and try and capture a little bit of what goes on outside the car as well for you guys to see. Although it would be better if the weather was nicer, but yeah, there's nothing I can do about that. So yeah, we'll pick up a bit later on.
Okay, so I did say I was going to try and capture some of the video from just around the event, so you can see the way in which the car's parked down the main street of the township here. It's a little bit unique in that regard. There aren't too many events like this. So this bit of road is actually still open to the public. They don't close it off until a little bit further closer to the start line. You can actually see up there that fluoro vest that just sort of marking where everything is. And this is just out the front of the pub here. All the trophy presentations were there at that particular pub. A lot of spectators and so on sort of hanging out there and watching the cars, and sort of walking up to the start line to see the cars, and then you're able to drive up the hill and have a look from another place. So it's quite unique in that way, and quite a good little setup that they've got. It does get fairly crowded, as you can see, like for all the competitors, but it's a good thing nonetheless.
Alright, so here we are lining up for our first run. Still in the line at the moment, obviously. First run was not good. The practice run, it was wet, damp, and it was really difficult. These road tyres, compared to the semi-slicks I'm used to, they're really numb. Like, you just can't feel the grip at all. Made it really difficult. So I didn't feel confident at all. It wouldn't surprise me if I was actually the last car up, like in terms of actual time, if that run had been timed, because it was just awful. Like, yeah, just no confidence at all. So yeah, having never driven the car to the limit like ever, it's yeah, been a little bit of an adventure that time up, so I'm glad I didn't damage anything. Did get it crossed up a couple of times, but not majorly, just, you know, sort of back stepping out a little bit. But, you know, the tyres, just road tyres, they just give you no feedback at all when you're getting close to the grip limit. It was like, you know, felt like I was going really, really slow, and then, like, without warning, the back end to just step out with 1% more throttle. So yeah, I don't really know. As you can probably see, the road's dried out a fair bit. There's not a lot of dark patches on the road. There may be some at the top of the hill still, so I'll be wary of that, and hopefully we don't get any more. But this is the first timed run now, so I can just see him over there setting up the timing screen and everything. So this is the point where it gets serious. So we're just going to have to see how we go. I really hope it doesn't rain again, and I'm keeping an eye on that tyre that was flat. It had lost a bit of air pressure this morning, so I'm sort of, after every run, I'm going down with the servo and just sort of topping it up. So yeah, we'll just see how we go, but I'll probably cut it there and start recording again once we get up the front, get ready to go. Got fifth at one point, which wasn't in the plan. I was going for third, got fifth. Took me a second to actually realise why I had no power, but that was alright. Felt okay, a lot better than it was in the rain, that's for sure. So I'll shoot down now, just double check, see if I've still got air in this tyre, because that's something I've got to keep an eye on all day now, pretty much. Brand new tyre, excellent. Yeah, go back down and probably have some lunch or something and get ready for the afternoon's runs. We should have two in the afternoon as well, so yeah, should be alright, so yeah, not sure if I'll grab some more video in between then or not. We'll just have to see what happens. Alright, so lining up for round two. The third run, but the second timed run. Everyone's just kind of getting into position now, so yeah, I mean, I've got a couple of things to say about the first run. First off, yeah, it felt okay on the dry road. It's a lot better. Obviously made that mistake with the gear shift, getting fifth, which cost me about, you know, a second or something, but yeah, the car's real slow. I did not think it was going to be as slow as this, but anyway, it is what it is, so we just got to kind of go with it. I'm thinking I might title this video "Brought a Knife to a Gunfight," because it's just yeah, it's not quick. Even most of the standard, you know, standard inverted commas cars here, like in the standard road class, are a fair bit quicker up the hill than what I'm managing. I'm about 22 seconds slower than my best time in the RX-7, which is a lot. So I was only hitting about 120k an hour at the fastest point, whereas in the Mazda I was getting beyond 160. So didn't really expect it to be that far off the pace, but it is. I'm not actually last in my class based on the first run, so that's something. But I'm only about 5 or 6 places off last overall. So yeah, there's a lot of cars here that are quicker than me. But you know, what can you do? We'll just go out there and see what we can manage on this one. Try and tidy up a couple of those mistakes, and yeah, then go home. I guess I don't know what else to tell you. So yeah, I'll switch the camera back on when it's time to go. Felt better. Left a lot less on the table that time, just getting a bit more confident with it. Like, I mean, I've owned this car for 10 years, I've never really driven it to the limit. So that felt better. Tyres give a lot more feedback in the dry, of course. You can just sort of feel the grip limit that much better. I don't think I really got to the limit necessarily through some corners, but look, I think that's probably fairly close to as fast as I'm going to go. I really don't feel as though the risk would be worth it to go much quicker than that. So, you know, as I say, maybe just tidy up a couple of bits and pieces and see how we go. I might head down to the servo and get a Red Bull or something. That's the good thing about having the being in the road registered class, is you can actually you know, just go off and get something to eat if you want. So yeah, not too much to say. I think that the next run will probably be the last one, so we'll stick around for that. Might go for a beer. I've got a couple of mates here as well that are racing. One, Taylor, is actually running right behind me in the order. So yeah, we'll yeah, I don't know. We'll probably get the camera back on for the last run. See if there's anything else I want to film in the meantime. But yeah, definitely better than it was in the rain. And just looking out there over the horizon, it's looking a bit misty, but I don't think there's any more rain in it. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, anyway, we'll see how we go on the last run. Alright guys, so just getting ready for the start of the, what will it be, the fourth run. Last year we only got 4 runs, and of course the first one was not timed, so that one wasn't filmed. But we only got 4 runs in last year. I think this year we might get 5. They just generally run them until sort of the end of the day. I think they've got to have the road open again by 6 or something like that. So it's only what, I don't even know what time it is now, but it's sort of mid-afternoon. Last run, obviously the track's dried out a whole lot, so I took about 5 seconds off, got down to 151, which, you know, I think most people improve by about the same amount, so I don't really think it helped my position a great deal. I'm kind of fairly level with a couple of other guys in my class as well, so there's a little bit of a battle going on there that I'm sort of keeping an eye on to see if I can beat those guys. So sort of similar on times with them, so that's really, yeah, I'm way off the class lead, but there's still a couple of guys there in my class that I can fight with. So yeah, it's alright, getting more comfortable. Probably the fact that the track's drying out and rubbering in to a degree, it's helping as well. But yeah, I think, yeah, for the most part, yeah, there's also some confidence building up there, whereas I've never, as I said at the start of the day, I've never had this car to the limit before at all. So yeah, I guess we'll wait. I'm just kind of in the packet now, waiting to go up. I think that's, yeah, that's car 1 up there, so I'm number 11, so I've got a little while to wait yet, but yeah, we'll see how we go. well, I reckon we may have improved again there. Hard to tell. Got a couple of spits of rain just as we moved off the line. That didn't really change anything. Just more annoying than anything else. It certainly didn't change the track, so I'd expect that one might have been a little bit quicker. Just really getting more comfortable now with the way the car feels at the limit and what it does, well, the limit of the tyres anyway. So we'll have to see how we went there. And like I say, I think we'll probably get one more run out of it today. Whereas last year, this is all we got, because we had a couple of prangs which kind of slowed progress down a little bit, but yeah, it felt alright. So yeah, sort of, it's a shame that it's a cumulative event, because if it was just based on one-off times, I reckon I could jump a few spots, but I cost myself a lot of time in that first sort of damp run. But you know, it is what it is. We'll just try and go as fast as we can the last one, and bring a little bit more out of it, maybe. Hard to tell, but yeah, probably pick you up then. Alright, so here we are again. We have got another run in. I was actually a little bit slower on that last one. I thought it was faster, but it wasn't. So yeah, less than a second off, but I'm in a very sort of tight battle with this Nissan at the moment. I'm not sure which one it is. I kind of like this to be the last run, actually. I'm kind of over it. So I get tired, I just want to sort of go home, but yeah, it looks like it might have a bit to go yet. Might even get another one in after this. But as you can probably see on the windscreen, a little bit of water there. We've had a bit of a sprinkle. It really shouldn't have done anything to the track. It really didn't seem significant enough to change anything, although it may have cooled it off slightly. But you know, we're talking a couple of degrees here and there. Certainly nothing that's going to affect this car, that's for sure. So yeah, I guess we'll just see how we go with this one. I didn't go out and get any additional footage sort of in between these runs, just because, you know, the weather's been kind of shit and everyone's sort of just kind of doing their thing. So yeah, I guess this pack will go up. Car 1's just gone up. I am car 11. So yeah, these guys go up, then I'll go up, and I will start recording again once it's nearly my go.
Alright, so you can probably see from that video still, even on my last run, I'm sort of taking a couple of areas a bit cautious. As I think I mentioned at the start of the video, that this car's my pride and joy. I really don't want to damage it, so we're still being a little bit cautious in some places, but did manage to improve again on that last run. So it was a good day all in all. Probably would have been nicer if the weather was a bit better, but you can't control that kind of thing. So anyway, as far as summing up the I guess the video as a whole, it really does prove what I was saying in my preparation video for this event, that you can get out there and race in a pretty much a standard road car with only some very cheap modifications. You can actually get out there and compete against guys doing exactly the same thing as you. So obviously this car, being a road going car, was not going to be as quick as the RX-7 that I used last year, and we did finish sort of down the bottom of the timesheets. Not last, but we were sort of in that bottom area, as to be expected. But we did beat someone who was in our class. We beat a Skyline, which was pretty good. So it does prove that you can actually get out there for not too much money. And keep in mind as well that this is quite a high profile event in terms of, it's one of the bigger hill climbs that they do. They're blocking off public roads, there's loads of spectators, everything like that. And that invariably brings out the fast cars. If you were to do exactly the same thing, say if I was to take this car and go up to one of the local club level ones like Colin Grove or something like that, it wouldn't be, the competition would not be as strong there. You still get your really quick guys in your higher classes, but there's a much larger contingent of standard road cars there. And this is not just the case for hill climbs either. You get it in super sprints, and you get it for if you want to look at some dirt stuff as well. There's Carnacross and Autocross and stuff like that you can run road registered cars in. So if you take anything away from this, apart from watching a guy drive up a hill, but if you take anything away from this, actually go out and have a little bit of a look at what exists as far as the stuff that you can actually go out there and do. It's not as expensive as you think it's going to be. It's really not out of the reach. If you've got a job, you can get out there and do something. You may not be able to go out there and win outright, because if you want to win outright, it's going to cost you big money. And you may not be able to go to V8 supercars or Formula One or anything like that, but you can get out there and do something if you want to do it. So here you go as well. Living proof. Absolute living proof that that's completely possible, because that is exactly how I started out. I started out with a little Ford Escort that cost me $600. And that's how I started, and now I've been racing consistently for about a decade, a bit more actually. So that's basically it. I hope that this may have encouraged a few people who've sort of thought about it in the past to get off the couch and maybe have a go. And for the rest of you, I hope you enjoyed the vid. Catch you next time.